we're here to bring a new type of news show.
New insights, new styles, and new topics every day.
We are News Generation.
Bringing news just for you is Thursday, July 24th here in Seoul. I'm Lee Soo-jin, and this is News Generation. And joining us today is Kwon Ji-yeon.
Happy Thursday.
Happy Thursday. And also Cheska Dine-hong's with us.
Happy Thursday too.
And both are here to speak on behalf of people in their 20s and 30s. So it's Thursday, which means we're going to begin with our keyword news, where we look at a story that has been gaining traction over the past 24 hours. And today's keyword is honorary ambassador. There are now just 99 days to go until the 2025 APEC Leaders Meeting in October. To mark the 100-day countdown on Wednesday, Prime Minister Kim Min-seok announced that the honorary ambassador for the summit is none other than global K-pop icon G-Dragon. The Prime Minister said G-Dragon was chosen for his status as a leading Korean artist who demonstrates creativity and innovation, even sending his music beyond Earth. As honorary ambassador, he will be participating in various promotional activities, including appearing in official campaign videos and helping raise international awareness of the summit. So Cheska, what kinds of promotional activities could G-Dragon take part in to help boost international engagement with this summit?
I mean, if I could, a fan meeting, maybe?
That sounds like a good idea.
I think that would be a great promotional event, but I think it was very strategic that they decided to have G-Dragon as the honorary ambassador, because recently he really became a symbol for innovation, challenge, but also self-expression. So I think in many ways he does align very well with the APEC Summit messages. I did hear that he will appear in the promotional videos, so I know I'm very much looking forward to that. And in addition, I think a lot of MZers and young people will be very excited to see G-Dragon appear to promote the summit. So I think it will draw a lot of attention and love from the people as well. Yeah.
Right, and like you said, no one can deny that he has a very huge fan base both in Korea and outside, so we can see how he'll connect with audiences everywhere.
Yes.
So what are your thoughts on this?
I do agree with Siska. Like, you know, like it's a brilliant move indeed for both Korea and abroad fans as well. So choosing someone like G-Dragon brings not just star power, but a whole new creative energy to the summit. You know, this is known as soft power. He's known for breaking boundaries, and I do think that mindset aligns perfectly with APEC's goals and innovation and cooperation. So imagine him collaborating with global artists, celebrities, curating art installations, and even launching a digital campaign that resonates with younger audiences. Plus, his fan base is incredibly engaged, so their attention could naturally spill over into the interest in APEC itself. So in a way, we are seeing diplomacy and Cape culture building something together, and I found that quite inspiring indeed. So it turns out diplomacy and K-pop have the same secret weapon, global fandom.
Right.
As well, yeah.
So imagine collaboration with global artists. So maybe we can look forward to maybe a special track. So that will also gain a lot of attention.
Wow.
So with just 99 days to go, we'll keep an eye on how G-Dragon's global influence helps spotlight APEC's vision of cooperation and innovation. So whether through music, culture, or creative outreach, his role as honorary ambassador will hopefully bring a new generation into the conversation. And that concludes our keyword news for this Thursday. So as we head into the final stretch of the work week, we're diving into a topic that's perfect for all of us. We're looking for some activities to help escape the heat. So let's take a look at a screen to learn more. It's that time of year again when finding ways to stay cool and entertained can be a real challenge as the relentless summer heat beats down on us. But here's one option that lets you escape the scorching sun and maybe even sends a chill down your spine instead, heading to the movie theater. And when it comes to summer blockbusters, there's one genre that never fails to deliver: horror, a go-to favorite for moviegoers looking for a good scare in a comfortably air-conditioned setting. So today, we're diving into how the Korean film industry is helping turn up the heat at the box office this summer. So as we just saw in the video, summer and horror movies have long been a perfect match, offering thrilling chills while keeping us cool in the air-conditioned theaters. The combination of suspense, mystery, and the supernatural seems to capture the imagination like nothing else during these hot months. With that in mind, I want to start things off by asking you, Ji-yeon, do you enjoy horror movies in general?
Well, when I was younger, I was not into those, you know, horror or occult-themed movies before, but now I actually love them. You know, it's quite thrilling and, you know, it's engaging sometimes. But the thing is, my husband, he actually has to cover his eyes whenever he watches, and I forced him to watch the movie. I've watched everything from Whispering Corridors, that is 여고괴담 in Korean, which in fact, fun fact is, it was actually filmed at my old high school because they have this terrifying long hallways in the school. And also watched A Tale of Two Sisters, 장화 홍련 in Korean. Also there's 곤지암, 파묘, exhumer, even 분신사바. Yeah, you know the gesture. So I do enjoy that mix of spooky silence and sudden suspense, and I no longer need coffee to stay awake at night.
That's so cool that the high school you went to was like the setting for that film. Like, did you sense any like supernatural vibes?
I think there was something like 분신사바 and ghost stories, rumors around. Yeah.
What about you, Cheska?
I'm so glad Juyeon went first because so I'm a bit torn, and even when we were watching the VCR, the little clip came out, I had to put my head down. I'm definitely your husband. I get dragged into watch scary films, but I also want to because I think as a human being, we all have intense interest in the mystery and the unexplained. So what I do is I do an intense research into the synopsis and the storyline of these scary movies because K-horror, as we will discuss in today's episode, has a lot of story theme and plot twist, and it's really interesting to learn about them. So I do my research, I make sure when the ghosts pop out, and I make sure I have someone next to me, and then I cover up, when it gets too scary. Yeah.
Do you find it still scary when you even know it's gonna come up? I believe
it sets my heart through the roof as soon as I hear the soundtracks playing. Yeah.
So Juyeon, when we think of Korean horror occult stories, there's always seemed to be a certain recurring elements that make them instantly recognizable. So what are some common themes or characters that tend to show up again and again?
I would like to mention this character, 저승사자, or the Grim Reaper, that is. It's a classic figure in Korean occult content, and Sony Pictures' K-popDemonHunters is no exception. This is hitting the charts in Netflix right now. Even the boy band in the film, Saja Boys, gets its name from the Korean word 사자, 저승사자, meaning reaper. It's currently topping the charts on Netflix. The concept of reapers exists in both Western and Eastern traditions, but the Korean 사자 is quite unique, often depicted wearing flowing robes and a traditional black cat called a Korean cat. What's interesting is that in modern stories, they have evolved beyond just guiding the dead. Sometimes they even say people who wish to die. One example is the K-drama Tomorrow, where reapers help prevent suicide rather than collect their souls. Actress Kim Hee-sung made a bold transformation with a brand new pink hair in this series. Even the Grim Reaper wants a career change and follows K-beauty trends as well.
We have a fashionable Grim Reaper.
Yes.
So, beyond the typical ghost or spirit, Korean horror films often feature a unique cast of characters not seen in Western films that help drive suspense and deepen the story. So what other typical characters often show up in Korean horror films, Jessica?
So another one is called Budang, which is a Korean shaman, but it is very special in a Korean term. So what Budang is someone who is, endowed with a spirit, and they usually guard the spirit, and they usually do elaborate performances to either bring good destiny or get rid of bad spirit. And they are usually known to have sort of been chosen by the spirit to do it. And it has appeared in the film Exuma, as we can see, and Juyeon talked about it. It was a great hit in 2024, and this drew a lot of attention because it was quite atypical to see a very young Budang. And also in the K-Netflix series Devil Hunters, the character Huntrix, her lineage was also Budang. So I think the sort of connotation that you get with this shaman has definitely evolved in the modern content from something mysterious, scary, and sort of unapproachable to something as cool as a K-pop character.
Right, so Juyeon, what makes these characters, such as a ghost we often see in Korean horror films, and their backstory stand out from those in horror films from other countries? And more broadly, what makes the Korean horror genre as a whole so distinctive and unique in their approach to suspense and fear?
Well, that's a very good question. Well, in Korean culture, ghosts aren't just out to harm people, harm the living for no reason. They have a particular reason. That's known as han.
Yes.
They usually have unresolved emotions or stories. That is han in Korean. Han is a deep, lingering feeling of sorrow, resentment, or regret, something that stays in the heart, unresolved, on the bottom of your heart. That's why shamans hold rituals not to fight them, but to help them move on. They hold this memorial rite so that spirits can leave this artificial world, this world, and return to where they belong. This emotional death is what sets Korean occult apart, and it explores pain, regret, and closure in a deeply human way. Plus, Korean culture, Korean occult mixes lots of different genres. It's not just horror. You'll find fantasy, action, romance, and even K-pop in one drama. It's chilling, yes, but also rich, layered, and strangely beautiful.
You know what? I feel like it's always hard to pinpoint one thing that makes Korean films so successful with global audiences. But I think what you said about Han kind of is like a really a key point of why it's so popular, because it's so hard to describe that feeling of like that sorrow, unresolved pain, resentment. But it kind of gives ghost stories kind of like a complex backstory, which makes it even resonates with audiences. You kind of feel for them a bit more.
Your heart is like with them as they go
Exactly.
through. Even it's a gore horror story. You're like, man, I understand why you're doing all this.
While you're crying.
And you become so invested in it too. So So Cheska, what do you think it's about the genre that resonates with young people, like millennials and Gen Zs though?
Just to add a little bit onto what Chuyeon said, I think definitely that sort of heart and the backstory behind it really makes the character more relatable. So you're not just spectating and watching something scary. You kind of get drawn into the story of trying to figure out why they're going through what they're going through. But on top of that, even someone as tiny chicken heart as I, who cannot stand scary movies, we all have an intense curiosity for the mystery and the unexplained. So I think K-horror movies does that really well in terms of using that to draw people in. And also, I think all of us want a little bit of, superstition, a little bit of something to hold on to appease our anxiety and uncertainty about the future. So I think that definitely plays a lot in the K movies as well. Another thing is even people who cannot stand horror movies get a dopamine rush when they watch. But people like Chuyeon, who love scary movies, I'm sure get a huge rush and the cool when they watch scary movies. So I think that's a great appeal as well.
Right, so we spoke a bit about the unique characters in Korean films, but what kinds of traditional Korean ghosts or mythical creatures are commonly featured, Chuyeon, and how have these figures kind of evolved over time in films and media?
I think I have to mention this ghost, or should I call it a ghost or a female? It's a 처녀
a
귀신.
classic. She's a classic, yeah.
Indeed.
Classic.
Well, this is known as a young female ghost. It is known as 처녀 귀신 in Korean. She's usually seen in a white funeral dress like me and with a black long hair, wandering with unresolved emotions, or Han again. In Korea, when people think of ghosts, 처녀 귀신 is often the first image that comes to their mind. Then there is the 도깨비, often translated as goblin, traditionally shown with horns and fangs, long teeth. But despite their fearsome look, 도깨비 are far from terrifying. They're also so familiar to Korean children. They even appear in nursery rhymes like 도깨비 방망이. You even spot on one in Korean K-pop Demon Hunters. But these days, the 도깨비 has taken on new forms like the charming and romantic virgin, handsome ones in the hit drama Goblin. The character has evolved with the times, blending mystery with modern appeal at the same time. So who knew goblins could be this good looking? I'm talking about Kong Yu here.
What you said about goblins is actually quite funny, because when you think of goblins in Western media, I feel like they're usually kind of styled a bit grotesque. But like you said, with having actors like Kong Yu portray them, they're like tall,
He doesn't have any
mysterious.
long teeth.
He doesn't. He does not. It kind of reminds me of the whole vampire craze during the Twilight era. So that's So are there any other mystical spirits or supernatural beings from Korean folklore that you find interesting or you feel like a bit underrated, I guess?
I think another one that's coming up is 구미호, a nine-tailed fox. So Korea has a long tradition of shamanistic root, and a lot of animal spirit was kind of embedded in it. And I think one of the animals that captivated people was the fox, the nine-tailed fox. And I think the good analogy is kind of like the Greek legend, the siren, that would lure sailors with this beautiful voice. What 구미호 does, it does with its intense charm and beauty, and actually devours the liver of a human being. Now, the backstory here is 구미호 also has a han, the unresolved sorrow, which is it wants to become human so badly that it has to do these things. So in the modern webtoon and K-drama, the 구미호 actually taken on a beautiful, beautiful actress and actor who really want to become human and find true love.
I think that's also a good analogy comparing sirens to kumyus. They're also quite similar.
Yes.
So that shift from kind of fearsome predator to sympathetic character shows just how much these traditional characters kind of resonate with people and how much they have evolved and how Korean horror and fantasy often blur the lines between monster and human. But of course, everyone has their own idea of which of these characters in Korean films they find truly terrifying. So to find out more about what really sends shivers down people's spines, we asked our viewers on the Arirang News YouTube channel which Korean ghost or spirit do you find the scariest? And here are the answers we received. The 처녀귀신, or the young female ghost, often depicted in a white hanbok with long black hair, was considered the scariest, receiving 60% of the votes. And coming in second with 20% was the 구미호, a nine-tailed fox that often appears in both seductive and sinister forms. And the mischievous yet powerful tokebi, or goblin-like spirits from Korean folklore, accounted for 16%. Meanwhile, 4% of respondents chose other supernatural figures. So to hear more about people's favorite Korean horror and occult content and how it compares to the ghost stories and supernatural figures they grew up with their own cultures, we'll be speaking with someone from South Africa. And that's coming up right after the break, so don't go anywhere.
NewsGen wants to hear from you. Go to YouTube and search our channel Arirang News. Click Community and leave a comment down below. Make a new type of news with us.
Joining us today is Zeno Slaman, a movie enthusiast from South Africa who's currently living in Korea. Hi, Zeno. Thank you so much for connecting with us today.
Good morning. Thanks for having me.
Good morning to you, too. Do you have a favorite Korean occult or ghost-related film, drama, or webtoon, and what did you like about it?
I would say I do have a favorite movie. It's called Koksang. It's a movie directed by Na Hong-jin, and it features one of my favorite Korean actors, Hwang Jung-min. And it's a complex and haunting Korean film. And you know, like when I watch Korean films, I always feel like you go through a lot of different emotions, whether it's a comedy, action, or horror. It's just, I feel like you go through the same emotions in very different ways. And I feel like the movie Koksang kind of gave me that for sure.
Then Zeno, what do you think makes Korean occult content stand out a lot? And why do you personally enjoy those kind of movies like Koksang?
I think there's more emotion and reflection, social reflection into the movies, instead of like Western movies where they just focus on fear and like trying to make people scared. I think Korean horror movies have more like, you know, it's more like about somewhat the characters' actual feelings and why they are like they are, you know, like a backstory of the villain, as you would say, like a ghost. So you kind of start understanding the character more, and it actually makes it way more scarier to know what the character's feeling and thinking. So I think in that point, yeah, Korean occult or horror movies stand out for me the most because there's so much emotion that makes it, yeah, quite special. And you can watch it several times. You kind of feel it at the same time, you know?
You know, I think it's so interesting when you say the fear is greater when it becomes relatable. And I think fear is an emotion that can be very different versus on cultural level as well. So I'm really curious, are there ghosts or supernatural beings in your home country as well? And how are they different from the South Korean ones?
Oh yeah, absolutely. There is like the spirits ghost type thing that we always grew up with called the tokoloshi. And it's basically a very small dwarf-like creature. And it's said it appears at night most of the time. So like even there was like people checking under their beds before bed.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, that's so it's like a Zulu spiritual creature. And as a kid, yeah, I was definitely very scared because you wouldn't want to go outside at a certain time. And I feel like parents would kind of use that as an advantage to keep the kids inside at an early time, especially in the evening. Yeah, so Yeah, that I think the way it kind of differs to Korean spirits or ghosts, the Tokoloshi comes from a certain group in South Africa called the Zulu tribe, and it is a spirit coming from the ancestors. So people would sometimes also talk through them through spiritual communication with ancestors. So I think kind of in that way it's a little different because a lot of it comes from like our history and of certain religions in South Africa. So in that way, I kind of differs, I think.
So what you said kind of makes me want to look up Zulu tribe and the stories behind it after the show. So thank you so much for sharing your insight with us today.
Thank you.
Yeah, please do.
So we just heard from a movie lover who told us about his favorite Korean horror stories and how they resonate across cultures. So Jiyeon, could you share any horror or occult films, dramas, or webtoons that you would personally recommend for someone who's new to this content?
Well, I would definitely recommend Pamyul or Exuma to the viewers. Well, it's beautifully shot, deeply unsettling, and full of symbolic layers. It blends in a lot of Korean traditional culture, and the translation is perfect. It's wonderful the way they translate Korean difficult words indeed. Well, but don't blame me if you sleep later because of the movie.
Exactly. So also to wrap up, we have to end with this. Like any other tips for anyone who is watching these horror films and what they should be watching out for?
Right, I mean, these are so exciting and they can get your blood rushing, but if you do have a tiny chicken heart like I do, make sure you do your research and know what you're getting into because it can really keep you up at night, and it would be best if you have someone next to you who's watching it so they can protect you.
So whether you're a longtime fan or just beginning to explore this thrilling genre, there's no doubt that Korean horror offers something fresh, unique, and genuinely spine-chilling. From its distinctive characters and haunting stories to its deep cultural roots, Korean horror has backstories that set it apart from other films around the world. And that said, it's important to remember that horror can be emotionally draining, so watching in moderation, like Cheska just said, is key. So enjoy the scares and suspense, but make sure to take breaks. After all, it's all about balancing the thrill with your own well-being. We're also conducting a program survey that includes News Generation until August 17th to better meet our viewers' expectations. So please visit us at www.arirang.com or on the Arirang TV mobile app to share your valuable feedback. So by participating, you'll also have a chance to win Bluetooth earbuds and exclusive K-pop merchandise. So this brings us to the end of today's episode of News Generation, but News Gen will be back tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. Korea time. Big thanks to Jiyeon.
Thank you so much, Sujin.
For coming in, and Cheska.
Pleasure's always mine. Thank you.
And to our viewers, thank you so much for watching, and we hope you have the best day. We are News Generation.